And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review, and this is Karjul or Karhul. I don't know if the J sounds like an H or if it's supposed to sound like a J. So Karjul or Karhul from Legends of Jedi. Now, Legends of Jedi, he's an officer there. They're a really amazing guild. They went from 40 million galactic power to over 70 million galactic power since the galactic power became a thing. They've won 6 out of 9 territory wars, which is pretty good considering some of the people they got paired against had sandbagged on their team to make sure they got guaranteed wins. And of course, he got into this game because of a friend, Jama. Jama got him into the game, and he had to spend a little money to get caught up to Jama. So he is a Dolphin. He's trying not to spend as much now, and he's been playing for about a year. Now, he's got 4 ideas he wants to look at. Basically, arena team, is it good? His mods on his arena team kind of thing, is it looking pretty good? Should he run CLS leader, or should he run Jedi Training Rate as the leader? The second thing is ships, kind of the compositions that he should be running in ships. And thirdly, the heroic AAT. By the way, shout out to another patron, 808 Boss. 808 Boss has really helped Karhul out with the heroic AAT. And you've got your phase 3 team down, and you're looking for a phase 2 team. And then you're soloing the Rancor, but you want to know, is there an alternate team for soloing? And then the next 3 Zetas. Woo! We got a lot to cover. We're going to cover it quick. Here we go. First thing is arena. What I see in your arena team is a little bit of confusion. Now, you can use Thrawn and CLS as your back 2 with Rey, and you can also use R2-D2, but you have BB-8, and you're not using him. You're using Kylo Ren. Why? Why? Pull Kylo, put BB-8 in there. Also, you're going to want to get BB-8 really fast, okay? 224 is not fast enough. He becomes the #1 speed priority right underneath R2-D2. So make sure you get all of your best speed mods on BB-8 and get him in there. Now, the thing that really makes BB-8 good, aside from all of this, is that he is a utility character that speeds the team up. He provides potency, and he doesn't have to attack to really create the utility that Jedi Training Rey needs with R2-D2 as well. So Rey, R2-D2, BB-8, and then in the back 2, you really could, I know you're kind of torn between who you should use. Should you use Old Ben or Thrawn or CLS? You were kind of not sure who you should use in that back slot. And so for the 2 back slots, the first I'd recommend is Commander Luke. And the reason is you've got him extremely tenacious, and you've got him modded perfectly, and Commander Luke does bring a lot of damage. He regenerates himself, and he'll be one of the many targeted individuals on your team. The second person in the back can either be Grand Admiral Thrawn or Obi-Wan. Now, I personally recommend Old Ben, and the reason for this is he is actually a legit tank. Without Old Ben, you do not even have a tank in your arena team, which really hurts for dropping. It's much more difficult for people to beat a team with a tank. I know a good defense is a good offense, but having a really good tank is there. Now, Old Ben has a double taunt. So if you're fighting against other Thrawns, you can just taunt right through a fracture, and that's Devoted Protector. Also, when somebody decides to dispel him, such as another Jedi Rey team or whatnot, they can take away his taunt. You're going to be able to have a second taunt pop up. You have him gear 12, so the truth be told, I would highly recommend Old Ben. You even have him modded over 220 speed, which is absolutely nutty. And so for me, it would be CLS and Old Ben as your back 2. Now with Old Ben, I did notice that you have a critical damage mod with only 4 speed on your triangle or the hollow array. This should be on a tank protection. So I would definitely immediately switch this for a protection triangle with speed secondary as soon as you get a chance. I've already mentioned you need to make BB-8 faster, but I would also make your R2-D2 faster. I know you're going, well, I don't have the mods to make him faster yet, but you might if you look really hard, and if not, this is the focus for your arena team. Instead of getting an off mod that's good and throwing it on maybe an Imperial Trooper while you're modding them, focus on this team first. They get priority because this is what makes you your crystals, and it's the most competitive team you're going to have. So you definitely want to make R2-D2 faster. Also, I noticed that his primary stat is critical chance with speed secondary. The speed looks awesome. And so if the only reason why you're using this is for that 13 speed secondary, then keep it on. But big if you had a critical damage triangle with a speed secondary, I would switch it to the critical damage. And the reason is he's gonna crit underneath Jedi Training Rey. She brings that to the table for the whole team. So you don't have to boost his critical chance rating up at all for him to get consistent crits. And because he has an AoE, he's guaranteed multiple crits. It's gonna happen. So I don't think you need this crit chance. I would switch this over to a critical damage when you get a chance. And you've got Jedi Training Rey pretty maxed out. You've got her mods really good. You went with straight offense, which is awesome. But I would continue your Zeta process with her. And the next one that I would do is Insight. I would do the second unique Insight. Definitely Zeta that. Put that on your Zetas list because you're asking who to Zeta next. And so let's go ahead and answer that. In my opinion, your next 3 Zetas should be BB-8 Roll with the Punches, Old Ben with his Devoted Protector, and then Jedi Training Rey. Now, I know you mentioned that in Heroic AAT, you're already, soloing phase 3 and 4 basically with Jedi Training Rey, R2, BB-8, and you use Thrawn and CLS. I've used that team too. You can do over 30 million with that team, and that's great. And you're saying, but what about phase 2, the beginning? Now, once you build out that team you just mentioned, you will be able to do about 30% of phase 2, all of phase 3, and all of phase 4. It's really possible, and so you're going to get about 32 to 34 million with that team. Really amazing, and that is really sufficient. But if you want another team for phase 2, aside from like the standardized clones, you can use the rest of your resistance. That's right, you can actually use a Finn lead, which you have gear 12, Poe Dameron, Rey Scavenger, Resistance Trooper, and Pilot. And truth be told, I would put Resistance Trooper on your phase 3 and 4 team, and I would put probably someone like Han Solo, who does a ton of damage, onto this team for phase 2. With the team that I'm suggesting, this alternate resistance team with a Finn lead in phase 2, you should, once it's developed out, be able to do anywhere from 6 to 10 million pretty easily, and that is a great boost. You might even be able to do 70% of phase 2 and then pick up where you left off with your new hybrid Jedi Rey team, finish phase 2, 3, and 4, and you're done with 3 out of the 4 phases. And it's hyper efficiency, right? It's all resistance characters basically that you just need to finish developing. Now, I know you briefly talked about Rancor and you solo with 5 separate characters, and you do that. Your CLS is totally pimped out over 240 speed and could probably do it all by his lonesome. The less people you have in there, the easier it is for it to really solo, in my opinion. I strip it down to CLS and Han Solo. Now, your Han Solo is 6 stars. He can't go in there yet. So once you get him to 7 stars, you'll be able to take him in there. You'll want to Zeta his shoots first, and you have him at gear 9. You'll want to take him to gear 11 and get his speed over 200, okay? So over 200, gear 11, 7 star with the Zeta and all the other attacks and abilities maxed. Now with CLS lead, Han Solo behind, you can go into phase 1, hit auto, and walk away, and 10 minutes later come back and it's over and you've got a guaranteed solo, no losses. I literally do this every time I can catch a Rancor. That's the 2 people I use. It's super fast, super easy. I don't even have to think. I just walk away and it's done. And you have half this equation, which is CLS. So really it's just about finishing off Han Solo. Although I've seen people do this with different teams, including I know a lot of people that do CLS-led team with Biggs and Wedge below him with all of the amount of damage that they deal and CLS removing turn meter. It's a really fast solo team as well. So there's a lot of different ways to skin this cat, so to speak. And so with Han Solo, it's just one more option. Plus, I think you should finish developing your Han Solo, which is why I'm suggesting this, because Han Solo has so much utility everywhere in the game. It is a big deal. Now, we talked about Arena, we talked about Heroic AAT Phase 2, and your Phase 3 team you're using, how to do Heroic Rancor, and then also your Zetas, the next 3 that I personally suggest. And the last thing you wanted was ships. You wanted to know some composition, like how to do really well. and you're doing really, really well. I'm actually completely blown away that you're in the top 30 with the team comp you have. And I know that that sounds a bit insulting, and I'm sorry because it's not meant to be, but the rebel ships really make you a target. I'm sure other people feel like you have a weaker team, so they're targeting you, which makes you drop. And it's not necessarily because those two ships are bad. It's just because they're not the fastest ships or the highest damage dealing ships. There is more synergy to be had when you're using Thrawn's Chimera, because Thrawn's Chimera thrives off of Empire synergy. Now you have that with the TIE Advanced and the TIE Reaper. So you can continue to use the team you're using, but I'm going to give you a team that you really need to develop. And of course, Slave 1, Scimitar are already kind of up there as far as developed. And your Scimitar is 5 stars, Gear 9 for the character, so you're going to have to work on him. And in your backup, I would have Poe Dameron. He's Gear 9, 5 stars. Again, another great ship in your back lineup. So Slave 1, Scimitar, and Poe in your backup. With your main lineup, I would use Chimera, and then I would use, of course, the TIE Advanced, the TIE Reaper, and then surprisingly, the next 3 ships I'm going to suggest you don't have developed very well, and that's Biggs Darklighter. This is the best tank in the game, hands down. Everyone knows this, and yet you got a Gear 8 Biggs. That's terrible. Get this ship to 7 stars, get him to Gear 11, get his abilities maxed out, get this ship's abilities maxed out, put it in your first 5, and watch the magic happen on a target lock team. I promise you, you're not going to regret that. Also, down here at the bottom right, you got your First Order TIE Fighter and the Imperial TIE Fighter, both at 5 stars, Gear 8 for the characters. Gear 8 for the characters, 5 stars for the ships. These two ships are absolutely amazing. The Imperial TIE Fighter is extremely hard to hit and has Empire synergy and is one of the fastest ships in the game. It's literally tied when maxed out with Poe Dameron's X-Wing, so I would highly recommend you get the Imperial TIE Fighter because speed wins in arena, especially with ships, and your other ships are not as fast. Also, you need to develop the First Order TIE Fighter. He is the Han Solo of ships. He does the most damage. The First Order TIE Fighter does unequivocally the most possible damage. He gains a ton of turn meter and is able to really control the battle with multiple attempts at target locks on a target lock team. So those 2 bottom right, First Order TIE Fighter and TIE Pilot, you definitely need to work on the First Order and the Imperial TIE Fighters. Those are huge. So Biggs and both TIE Fighters, and then of course you want to finish off Scimitar and Poe. So Karjul, Legends of Jedi, what's up you guys? I hope this really helps with your arena. Really go Jedi Rey, but go all in. Take out Kylo. He makes no sense whatsoever. I would probably take out Thrawn as well. Again, put in BB-8, put in Old Ben, do the Devoted Protector, Zeta, roll with the punches on BB-8, and also you could do the second unique on Jedi Rey. That'll make a huge difference. For Heroic AAT, just work on all your resistance except for Holdo and Rose. Just work on all the others. Finish leveling them, developing them out. Get your Han Solo leveled up and work on Biggs and both of the TIE Fighters for ships. You're going to not regret it. I promise you. If anyone else has suggestions, leave them in the comments down below and keep your gaming on. Warrior, out.